let's go ahead and get started. Again, good night, everyone, and welcome to another DTools Cloud After Dark webinar. I feel like we need a jingle or something. But thank you guys for being DTools customers, tuning in, and giving us so much helpful feedback. I really enjoy doing these webinars with you guys. So like always, I'm going to breeze through a PowerPoint of our agenda before we dive in. And then at the end of our presentation, we'll be doing a live Q&A. Okay, let's get acquainted once more. I'm Leanne, or LB, and I'm a customer success manager here at DTools. I'll be presenting this evening. Andre is also a customer success manager, and we're here to help you guys train and become DTools cloud experts, successfully implement the software, coach you on best practices, and pass your feedback on to our product and development team. All right, Megan Campbell is your amazing DTools Cloud Account Manager, and she's here to help guide you as you onboard and maximize your use of the software by adding training hours and services and just helping you guys scale your business. And as I'm presenting, Andre and Megan will be answering your questions via chat. Okay, so let's jump in. Again, Andre and Megan will be answering your questions via chat as I present, so please don't hesitate to ask. And then we'll also follow up on any questions that we don't get to tonight. This evening, we'll be focusing on labor. And labor is important because you want to make sure that you're paying yourselves handsomely, of course, and track time appropriately once you've won your opportunity and it becomes a project. So as your installers start to clock in and out, that time spent is deducted from the time sold. So we want to make sure that we get it right. And we're also going to take a look at labor types, itemized labor, which is labor tied to the equipment, labor at the category level, reintroduce fulfillment locations, and take a look at some of our display options in the proposal. I also want to call out the value of fulfillment locations and how they can help you guys assign appropriate labor rates for different places. So I'm going to create a new opportunity, enable my fulfillment location, and show you what that looks like in a quote. And last but certainly not least, as we work through the software together, I'll be sprinkling in some of my favorite tips and tricks to help you guys save more time when quoting. All right, so let's jump in. Again, Andre and Megan will be answering your questions via chat as I present, so don't hesitate to ask. And then we'll also follow up on any questions that we don't get to tonight. All right, so let's jump right in. So let's get into settings. So the first place I want to go, hold on. All right, is adjustments. Okay, so adjustments can be used as discounts, upcharges, or any additional fees that you want to add to your quotes, right? So you can add adjustments in the quote and save them for future quotes, but here is where you can auto apply them. So the next time that I create an opportunity or a quote, I want to auto apply this miscellaneous materials adjustment. So again, come into your settings, create your adjustment, and select auto apply. All right, tip number one. And we also have a new feature here in project types. So as most of you know, you have to select a project type when creating a new opportunity. We're going to stay on theme today and add a nightclub for today's opportunity. So I'm going to create nightclub for my commercial group. And I'm going to create this here. So this is what we've all been waiting for. I know that I've asked for this. You guys have asked for this. You can now select a proposal template and tie it to a project type. So the next time that I create a new opportunity and I select this project type, it's going to automatically populate my commercial default template. That way I don't have to switch between them before sharing that proposal. Really excited about this. All right, and just to recap, opportunity, project types, create your project type. You can edit them and then choose a proposal template. All right. And another new feature that we have, item validation settings. So it's really easy to miss things when quoting a big job. And by turning these on, anytime one of these fields is empty or your margins don't make sense, we're going to alert you that something needs attention, an item needs attention in your quote. So an icon is going to appear next to the item in the design tab, and I'll show you what this looks like in a few. But it's just a really nice feature to help you guys, save some time from double and triple checking your quote. So if my unit cost is 0, I do want to know. Same thing with my unit price, and I'm going to save that. So make sure you guys turn on these item validation settings. Okay, and now let's get into labor. All right, so here are my labor types. Here I have my hourly cost. This is what I'm going to pay myself, and then the hourly price is what you charge your customer. Now, I've seen customers quote labor a few different ways. Some like to add their equipment and simply add these labor types as line items, and others prefer to use our itemized labor option. So here we're giving you sort of a head start by suggesting industry standard installation times, and we're going to calculate that by your labor type, or excuse me, your labor cost and price, your hourly cost and price. And yeah, so for example, VTools estimates that it's going to take 30 minutes to install a pair of speakers. So we're going to add that to that time to your items. And you can always edit and configure that time if you want to add more or less. And if you want to switch things up, you can always turn this off at the quote level also. So again, just tying labor to your equipment. All right, and giving you guys some time. Okay, and one of my favorite features, labor at the category level. So I'm going to come to my display devices, and I'm going to come down to my projectors. So here's my installation for my projectors, and let's just say I wanted to tack on some programming labor. And I want to put 30 minutes here. Going to add that in. So now across all of my projectors, doesn't matter the brand, anytime that I pull one in, this installation and programming labor type is going to pull over. And it's really nice that I can do it here at the category level instead of having to go in my catalog or in my quote and doing it piece by piece or item by item. Really powerful stuff. Okay, and the star of the evening. So let's get into fulfillment locations. So some companies carry out projects from different offices and labor rates change, right? Or you might just travel and do business in other locations. So I do work in Atlanta, Houston, Miami, and I'm going to create a Vegas location here. All right, so after you've created your locations, then we're going to come back to labor types. And now I need to enable these locations. So I'm going to edit my installation labor type. All right, I'm going to turn this on or enable my fulfillment locations. And let's pop in some numbers here for Vegas. So we can do 85 here, 40 here. All right. I'm going to save that. And I'm also going to edit my programming labor type. Enable my fulfillment locations here. And let's change Vegas too. All right, and save. Cool, cool. So now that we've set everything up here, I'm going to leave settings and we're going to create a new opportunity together. So let's do some work at One Oak, do an AV upgrade. I'm going to select my project type. All right, pop in my client information, One Oak Nightclub, my site and billing address, my opportunity details. So here is where I'm going to select my fulfillment location. So we're doing this work in Vegas. And let's jump into our quote. All right, so here's that adjustment field. And because I've applied my miscellaneous materials back in settings, I hit auto apply. Here it is. Now, I don't have any pricing here yet because it's calculated based off of my product total. So once I add my equipment in, this number is going to change. And let's jump into design. Okay, so we're in room 1. I'm just going to add some equipment here. I'm going to add a projector. Add this one. All right, and I'm going to add a TV. Okay, sure, why not? So once I select my item, I'm going to scroll down. And here I can see that I have installation and that programming labor that I added back at the category level in settings. So again, we can add labor this way, or I can add labor as a line item from my catalog. Okay, so here's that labor type. I'm just going to jack this up a little bit. All right, and that's all there is to it. Cool, cool. And so now I do want to take a look at our quote settings to show you our fulfillment location. So here I can see that Vegas has been set up. Here are the correct hourly costs and prices. And if I wanted to turn off my itemized labor and just use my labor line items, I can do that by hitting this toggle here. All right, and I do want to show you guys how our item validation icon pops up. So I'm going to remove my cost here, put 0 there. And now I get this icon here to let me know that my unit cost is 0 and I need to make a change. So again, instead of having to click into each item and double and triple check, I'll get notified here and I can go ahead and make any changes. All right, I'll pop that in there for now. Cool, cool. So let's take a look at the proposal. I'm going to create my proposal. And because I selected my commercial default template for my commercial nightclub project type, it's automatically populating my commercial template here. So I don't have to change my template and choose one. Now let's come down to our location. So if you didn't know, if you hover over each section in your proposal, you can edit the section by clicking on this pen here. All right, we have some display options here. I can choose to show my labor total separately, include my labor and my group total. And this 4th tab here, we have a labor section, and I can include it in my item unit price. I can show my labor line items here or remove them. And I can also choose to show my labor column. We can also edit our summary. All right, the 2nd tab here. So I can break out my product and labor totals. I can combine them or hide them all together. And I can also show my pricing by labor type. And here they are again. All right, and we also have a labor section. So by clicking this green text here, here's that labor section. My labor types, I can choose to show my hourly rates, the labor total, if I want to show it in the footer, and then I can also do some sorting here. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and accept this quote. All right, and we're going to win this opportunity to kind of tie it all together. So here I am in my project overview, and I can see my different labor types here and the amount of hours sold. All right, so let's just say that we've already gotten paid, we've ordered and received our equipment, and I'm going to come into my project plan and apply my task template to start tasking my installers. All right, so here are my tasks, and I'm going to go ahead and assign a resource. All right, and we're going to put it on the schedule. So tomorrow from 9 to say 12, we're going to send LB out, and that was this task. My resource has been pulled over, and I'm going to create. All right, so from 9 to 12, LB is going to be at ONEOK. And now let's take a look at the field user view. So I'm going to switch views here. Okay, and typically I would clock into the project here, drill into my task, but for demonstration purposes, I'm going to just manually add a time entry. All right, so I'm going to select my project, task group. We're doing the installation, and tomorrow from 9 to 11, I'm going to be there for 2 hours, and I'm going to add that here. All right, so then back to our office user view and into our project. All right, I can see that some work's been done here, 2 hours of installation. I have 2 completed hours here. And as we complete these hours and clock in and clock out, this chart is going to build up. So if we're under budget, we'll know. If we're over budget, the chart's going to turn red. And so again, it's just really important to sell the job at the appropriate amount of time. That way, when you guys are managing the project, it makes sense. All right, and that is pretty much a wrap on labor. We can go ahead and open it up for some questions.
Okay. Hi, everyone. This is Megan. If you have a question, just raise your hand, and I'm just going to go down the list alphabetically. Okay, Dan, go ahead with your question. Can you hear us, Dan? I'll come back to you in just a minute.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
There you go.
I thought you had muted me. I didn't realize I had to unmute myself. So
Yeah.
when you add in the settings, when you add an adjustment, can you do the adjustment on current projects as well as future project or opportunities, or is that only going to affect new ones?
Yeah, so yep, you can. So if you add it there in your settings, and I'll jump into one here. Yeah, so just hit this pen here and then add adjustments. and then they should pop up here.
If I hit it on where? Show that again.
Yeah, so if you come to your settings and you add them here, so if you decided to add some adjustments today, right? Just come here, add these adjustments, and then when you're in an existing quote, a new quote, excuse me, if you click on this little pen here,
On
and
the
then click
overview.
added, yep, in the overview tab, yes. Yep, and then when you click add adjustment, they should be listed here.
Okay. One more. Can we arrange page breaks in the when we're looking at the invoice, or when we're looking at the
The proposal?
Yeah.
Arranging page breaks. I know that we have page breaks. Where is that?
Yeah, because like when you're looking at it on here, it looks different than when you actually view the PDF. When you view the PDF, sometimes you end up with one line that's on the second page that really, you should kind of arrange those page breaks.
Gotcha. And we are working on the PDF too, making it look just like this. But today, the only page breaks we have are these two. Have you tried this before?
Where's that? Say that again.
Yeah. So when you hit this download here and click edit proposal PDF,
okay, I've got
page break type.
Okay.
So we have some good stuff coming then.
Okay. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
Bill.
Hi there, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, quick question since you're talking about fulfillment locations on proposal templates. Currently, if I add the logo and company information, it only brings in the company information that's listed under my settings company info, company profile. So if we have multiple locations and you've got fulfillment locations here, is it possible or on your roadmap that I can add logo and address for each location rather than just our headquartered location that you have listed here?
We have something coming on the roadmap for multiple locations. So we're not there yet, but it is coming.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Great question.
Thanks, Bill. Let's see. Nick.
Yeah, how you doing? My question is installer reports. When are we going to be able to edit the installer reports and start printing out some of these pages?
When you say edit the installer report, what are you looking for? We have some notes coming and some lines and signature lines and notes, but and edit it, would you like to see?
Just in the installer reports, it's very vague on what I can. The installer report basically prints out everything. If I just want my roughing crew to see certain things on the installer report, yes, I can do it under tasks. But if I want to give them a hard copy to go in the field with, I can't do that. They see all items in the project.
So you want select items on the installer report?
Yeah, I mean, like if I want to send my guys to go out and rough a house for the wiring, they should only see that. They don't need to see the access points and the speakers and all that. Unless I give them a task, there's no other way that it seems to be able to do that.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, not today, but we'll certainly write that up for you.
And then are we any closer to being able to print these pages out, like all pages? I don't know why. Like I can't even screenshot some of it. It's pretty locked down. You know, my boss is pretty old school and he wants to be able to print this stuff out to put in a field file, and we're not able to do that. So he's really pushing back on the whole software because of that.
Printing out like task information, or is it not working?
Printing out any of it, like just if I wanted to screenshot this page here and print that out, it doesn't allow me to do that. Or, you know, the only thing you can print out basically is installer reports and bill of materials. If I wanted to print out anything else, I really can't.
Okay. I don't have an
Right.
answer. Sorry?
Right now, we're just having to export it into Excel and give it to them that way, but that's really hard to do.
Gotcha. Okay, I don't have an answer for you, Nick, but we'll follow up with you, okay?
Okay.
Maybe
you.
we can schedule like a screen share or something to see where it's freezing up and not letting you screenshot it or print it. So we'll definitely touch base with you, Nick.
Or a better way to get
Thank-
that data out for you.
Thank you. SB, there's not a full name. It's just SB.
Yes, hi.
Hi.
Can we have
Okay.
by options? Can we have alternate for options? And by options, if we have within not an option, but if we have an alternate set, let's say speakers, we should have the option for client to choose. We should set 12 speakers, and client should be able to put in 6 he wants to upgrade it, and 6 should be. So if there's alternate from good speakers and better speakers, or anything keypads, 2 kind of keypads, he should be able to upgrade, and it should be simultaneously one set number 12 keypads. So if he upgrades 2, so 2 should be updated, and the 10 should be the alternate should be connected one to another. So when you do that, when you present it for the client, he can choose of the alternate. But if you have 12 keypad, I'm just shooting, but I have currently a client who wants to update 20 keypads. Yeah, but the rest he wants to stay, the regular keypads or TVs or anything. You can't set. I want to set the 12 in total, and the client should be able to. We should have an option. The client should be able to modify the totals, but it should all stay within that number.
Okay.
And
So
also,
we
that's the
can-
first time I see mark all items as optional. That's a new thing.
Gotcha. But you want them to be able to update the quantities.
Correct. So my first question is to mark all items as optional. So we can have an alternate set for optional, or it will be 4
Correct.
separate items by optional.
We do have alternate sets for with optional items now that just shipped. But what's the latter? I'm not understanding the second part of that.
So the second part of that, let's say we have alternate. Those over here, you have best, better, and good. And the client, let's say there's 20 TVs throughout the house. We should set 20 TVs throughout the house, but he should be able to set that he wants from best, he wants 5 from better, and 10 from good. And all should work together. It should be a total of 20, but client should be able, and it should work simultaneously because it's still optional for the TVs in the house.
Okay, I think I'm getting what you're saying. I don't know if we can do that today, but we can take this offline. I will follow up with you myself to see if we can accomplish that.
Beautiful, thanks.
No problem. SB, full name.
Solomon Brown.
Gotcha. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank you. Yes. And Michael, I think I skipped over you earlier. Sorry.
It's no problem. Thank you. This was in reference to questions that have come up on previous calls, but I know an app is not really on the table at the moment, but would there be a way, or is there a way to have an office user when they sign in on their mobile device for it to default to field user, and then on their computer vice versa, and instead of having to kind of navigate back and forth? That kind of might help. We could create a bookmark on a phone for a field user, and or even an office user, that when they go to the field, to be able to clock in and out more efficiently and things like that.
Taking a note here. Yeah, we'll talk to the product team about that. So you have office users that are also using the field user view, but when they sign in, the ability to have them sign in under the field user view instead, or the field user dashboard to pop up instead?
If, for instance, we're a pretty small company, so the ones of us that are here in the office putting the proposals together, the ones that are doing the programming, a lot of times we end up being the ones in the field installing things and getting everything set up in the field as well. And navigating the office user view from a mobile device is rather cumbersome,
Okay.
especially like things like putting in notes and things like that. To where if I sign in on my phone, if I had a bookmark instead of an app, if I use a bookmark on my home screen that looks like an app, and if it signed in and went straight to the field user, then that would make that more efficient and useful as that website. But then when I come back to my computer in the office, it becomes, I sign in and it's in office user mode, because obviously switching back and forth there's just a couple of steps, but it's just a little, I was wondering how hard that would be to kind of navigate that or put that in lieu of the actual app that everybody seems to be clamoring for.
Yeah, no, I don't know, but I will certainly write it up and get it over to our product team. Maybe it's just the screen when you sign in, being able to choose between office or field user, something like that. That's what I'm thinking, but we'll see what we can do.
All right, thank you for taking that under consideration.
Of course, thank you.
Thanks, Michael. Bill, did you have another question? No, okay.
No, I'm just an idiot who left my hand up.
No, it's fine. Robbie.
Yes. So it's been a bit since I've worked in DTools, so forgive me if this has been something that has been addressed in previous webinars that I've missed, but the labor, it looks like you guys have fixed the fact where the labor wasn't able to previously be added as just like a line item. Because that's something that I noticed earlier on, like end of last year. But is there a way to make labor types, it looks like the labor types just kind of work as one list, and the labor types that I can add as line items are also the same labor types that are going to show up when I add labor type to any kind of, TV or device that I'm adding. Is there a way to differentiate those? Because, for example, we use almost hundreds of different labor types as line items for different things. But in terms of labor types for the devices we use, we only use a handful. It's like installation programming, but then we'll have a giant list of labor types that we will add in as line items for certain things.
Well, these labor types are the line items, and they're also the same labor types tied to the equipment. So
right.
It's pretty much all the same list, or all in the same place. Yeah, today it's just all going to be listed here under labor types.
Okay. So if I create all of those line items, it's going to have a giant list to choose from when I'm creating new items from the store, right? I guess we'll just have to find it. We'll have to fish through. That's not a big deal. I was just wondering if that was the case, because once again, I haven't touched this in a little bit, so I didn't know if that was something super new.
Yeah, and so that you're not doing it one by one, again, feel free to use our categories and add the handful of labor types across different categories instead of doing it in the quote or in your catalog at the product level.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Good question. Thank you.
Thank you, Robbie. Ty.
Hey, how are you tonight?
Good. How are you?
Good. So I had a question sort of answered earlier, but I just want to readdress it in the calendar mode when you're assigning the technicians. You currently use 360, so I can see the whole month at a glance, and it's much easier to start with that view and then go into a project But I asked, can you see a month view now in the software? But I think they said it's coming in a future set. But I just wanted to talk through that real quick as a question.
It is coming actually. So yep, the month view is coming, I think, in our next release.
Okay. Any time frame on that?
I want to say
I
think April.
April. Okay.
Okay. It's literally keeping me from
It could
purchasing
push,
the next
but
one.
we're shooting for April.
Okay, yeah, I know that hold you to it. I just,
Yeah.
it's really keeping me from making the next buy-in to the next step in the package. So I have field users before I pull away from 360.
Understood.
So, yeah, so that's good. I mean, what it is now is good, but you know, being able to see the whole month at a time is really crucial with kind of planning out scopes with large projects and stuff. And seeing the next month and next month would be very handy. So,
Absolutely.
Agreed.
cool.
Great
Second
feedback.
question.
Something we've been working on.
Okay, good. Second question, when I add an item to a quote and I want it to literally just go in as an option, not have to click on it and edit it to do the alternate versus option feature, I have trouble when I do that and I select option, it's telling me to name it and all kind of stuff. I don't understand what it's trying to do. So like if you add an item to that conference room quote right now, is there a way to make it simply go into the quote as an option versus having to add it somehow, then click on it? And what's the process to make it an option?
Yeah, so once you add an item, click on
Yeah.
it, and then here's that toggle to just make it a client selectable option.
Hang on, I'm sorry. Where's the toggle? The software's
Yeah.
like,
No worries, right here under the quantity.
okay, my blonde moment's over. Thank you. That's been there the whole time. Great. That's my question. I appreciate
Right
it.
under quantity.
Yeah, right there. Okay, the little tiny box. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
Yeah.
David Hemmings.
Yeah, my boss's biggest gripe about the scheduler is he wants to be able to grab onto blocks of schedule and drag them around or resize them just by dragging on them. Right now, I don't see much ability to change things other than to go completely into that scheduled piece and change times on it.
Understood. Yep, it's something that we've heard before. I really like that feature request too, just being able to drag and move it around.
Yeah, a lot of times it's just pushing it to the next day. So.
Understood.
Yep, thanks.
No problem. Thank you. Good feedback.
Thanks, David. Jonas. Can you hear us? Looks like you're unmuted, but there we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, great.
Hi,
Thanks.
Jonas.
How are you guys doing? I've asked you about this in the past, but are you looking at the ability to capture revenue generated for all the projects in cloud, similar to SI, where you can, build a revenue report for a specific time period or month to month, and you can capture the economic activity so that you can bill out based on what's being either picked or installed?
I have written that up for you, Jonas. No work's been done yet, as far as I know, but it is still on our items list.
Okay.
But yes, we haven't forgotten about that.
Okay. Yeah, it would be a cleaner solution for us than trying to build a workaround and adding like a phase where you would drop a project in a phase, and that would be a cue to look at it and see what work's been done. That's all.
Gotcha.
Thanks.
Yep, still on our list, and I'll keep you updated. Thank you.
Thanks, Jonas. Any other questions? Robbie, did you have another question?
No, I guess I was supposed to put my hand down.
It's okay, no worries. Wade.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hi. We can hear you.
Yes. So what is the easiest way? So whenever I'm designing the proposal, I'll generally do kind of a handwritten scope in the AV system tab, and the things are organized below that. And all of that is great, but whenever I'm trying to relay that information to my project manager and he goes in to that project, I'm trying to figure out how for him to see that scope. It's generally room by room that he sees when he opens up a project, and that verbiage that I put in there is not on the rooms, but it's on the system view. And so I'm just trying to figure out how he changes his view to see what I saw whenever it was in a proposal state.
So you've added a description. So where?
So,
so where did you add your scope?
Yeah, so if, on the proposal, I would sort it by system and room, and so system first, and so they went to house audio, let's say, and so it has a description of a little paragraph right there.
Here, okay.
Yeah, so right there, and then I would have, so mine is reverse. I have the AV system up top, and then I have the rooms listed below.
Okay.
Yeah, so just like this. And so if I put the description right there in the AV system section, and whenever I show the client, they see all that writing. But I think when a project manager, maybe it's his settings are wrong, but he goes in to that now saved or one project, he just sees, I think, room to room view and not that.
Yeah, so there's this view bill of materials button up top. So when he comes into the project, he can always take a look at that same system, and that description should still be here.
Okay, so his first step is just going into the bill of materials, and he can change his view from there.
Right. So it becomes a project, right? So he's coming into his project, and then he just wants to take a look at the descriptions, right? So he'll come to view bill of materials and then come back to that system, and that scope should still be here.
Okay, I think he just was not knowing to go to bill of materials first. So that answered my question. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Good stuff.
Thanks, Wade. Andrew.
Yes, can you hear me well?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. I guess so. This is, I guess, maybe more of a suggestion. It's in relation to one of the things one of the other gentlemen brought up a little earlier in regards to the line item labor and the product attached labor. This is something that actually was a big one for us as well. With previous software that we used to use prior to switching to DTools, we used to do a lot of line item labor. And so we would have multiple, like I'd put a labor line item like install a pair of speakers, including wiring, or install a pair of speakers already wired, like with a longer description, not just like a word or two about the type of labor that it is. So like install a TV above a fireplace, including whatever, you know. And right now, if I want to do that, it has to be done as a service. And so you create the service has the installation labor type inside that service, but it doesn't show the cost of that labor as a line item. It just adds to the total of the labor cost in the proposal. So what would be nice would be, like the other guy I think was trying to say, is to have your product attached labor types, which, like me, I only need a few, but also have separate labor line items that you can create where you can be more descriptive on what that labor is as a line item and have a price for it right there.
Okay, so
As a choice, like, because sometimes I like how when I'm adding something up that it automatically gives like kind of suggested labor by it being attached to the item. But sometimes I like, when I'm going through room by room, being like, okay, I'm putting a couple speakers in here, I'm putting a couple speakers in here, putting a TV in here, and putting in those labor lines as, putting in that labor as line items. Now you can kind of do it now, but like I said, you have to do it as a service. And when you do it as a service, then you got to link it to a labor type, and it doesn't show as like when it says a line item, it doesn't show the price to the right of it. It just adds the labor to the total, or the total of that room. You know what I mean?
Yes and no, because I mean, I have labor tied to my equipment in this quote here, but I can also add labor line items to this
Right,
location.
but they show up in the same, like the other guy was talking about, they're all part of your labor types. And it would be nice to have labor types just for the ones that are attached to products, and separate labor that you can create, like my own groups or my own categories of labor types. So they're not, so that way you don't have a whole bunch of them in the attached labor category that, with the individual products. Because with the products, I only need like 3 different labor types when it comes to the stuff for products. But when it comes to actual labor, running wires, installing an antenna, just any of these things, it's like I don't need all of those to be in the category for things that are attached to products. You know what I mean? Because sometimes even like there's labor that sometimes we do just labor. We're not, there's no product attached with it. Like if we're being subcontracted or something like that by another company, and we're just providing labor. And so it'd be nice to have line items that are just labor, that are not mixed with the same labor types that are used to be attached to products. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying now. It might be worth you jumping on a call with one of our product managers just to kind of pick your brain and see how we could implement that in the software. I don't have any answers right now, but I get I see it.
I think that's kind of what the other guy was talking about, and it's something that we ran into a while back. And so I have to, for certain projects, I'll kind of fudge it by doing the services. But the downside to doing that is it doesn't show, when you put in a service as a line item to the right, it doesn't show the pricing. Do you know what I mean?
Okay. Yep. I see what you're saying. Yes, I know what you're talking about.
I created a whole bunch of labor line items, but I've had to do it as services. And that way it doesn't show up in that labor. Oh man, sorry about the beeping. It doesn't show in that category of the labor types, and it shows up much more descriptive. I can put in an image and stuff associated with it, but then it's got the whole labor type things. I'm sorry. I'm going to go and shut that off so I'm not disturbing anymore. But that was all I had that was all the input I had.
Gotcha. No worries. And I know that we didn't show the pricing in the proposal for services, but hey, Andre, for labor packages today, do we show the price in the proposal? I haven't tested that yet. Or does it work kind of the same way as service?
Are you asking me?
No, I was asking one of our colleagues. Andre, are you there?
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm hearing you now. Say something again.
Yes, I had to disconnect and reconnect my headset.
No worries.
So the services should actually show their unit price and total price. So,
Hmm.
I mean, depending on, of course, like the customization options on proposal, like you would actually have to display unit prices in general. So if we're hiding unit prices for the rest of the items, then of course the service is not going to show the unit price either. But if we're showing the unit prices, we should be able to show
Well,
the unit price and the total price of the
so
service line item.
if I it hasn't for me yet, unless that's something that changed. So like on my proposals, it shows all the individual line items pricing to the next one. So if I put in a bunch of products to the right, it'll show their pricing. But if I put in a service, it'll have the service and it'll just be like quantity one, but it won't have
Mhm.
the price. But say it's, that room, the room that I've applied that service to, it'll show, product total, labor total, and it adds to the labor total, but it doesn't show it on an individual line cost. Now, maybe it is a
I gotcha.
setting, but, something that like I couldn't figure out how to display.
Yeah. And no worries, Andrew. I can reach out to you tomorrow and we can take a look at that together if you're not busy.
Oh no, I'll make time.
Okay, perfect. I'll follow up with you, okay?
All right, sounds good.
Thank you. And
Thanks,
thank you,
Andrew.
Andre.
Oh, no problem.
I don't see any other questions. Any last minute?
Oh, awesome. Well, all right. Thank you guys for your questions and tuning in. We will definitely be following up with you guys tomorrow. And yeah, if you guys need anything from us, just let us know. We're happy to help.